All righty. Well, I want to thank everybody that signed up for our webinar here, Kickstart 2015, Take Charge of Your Career with W.H. Meaner and Associates. My name is James Kemper. I'm the president of W.H. Meaner Associates. We are actually headquartered here in Charlotte, North Carolina, but we actually have a global reach. Now, the reason why we decided to do a webinar of this sort, some of you have had attended some of our earlier webinars that we did at the end of the year that were more of informative base, whether it be on intelligent manufacturing, Internet of Things, really trying to bring a broader knowledge base, I guess, on really the way that the industry is heading. But we decided to start this. We just started to start this thing off right now, going in a little bit of a different direction. A lot of companies like to send out monthly newsletters with a nice little article and then posting some of the jobs and hot topics that they have. And we decided to do something a little bit different, take about 30 minutes of your time, and talk a little bit about how that market is going, what we are seeing on trends, and then also show you some of the newer features that we have as well. Now, as we've actually seen, it's going through there, we look at the recession that never seems to end or want to end, but how's the job picture right now? 2014, we did see the greatest number of jobs that were added in 15 years. We have seen a steady and consistent job growth for the past several years. Third point, the tightening labor market. And then for the first time, there's some optimism on job creation for the first time in many years. I'm sure every one of you all have read the reports. They seem to come out since 2010 on about how the economy is improving and is solidifying, but we haven't seen a lot of movement because folks that have a job, they want to keep that. They don't see the situation improving enough that they will want to even consider taking another job just because of the weakness of the situation and the not really knowing what we're going to be doing quarter by quarter by quarter. They could change. Suddenly they're out of a job and they left something that was stable. But we have started seeing some signs that things are improving. So that was one of the reasons 2015 wanted to bring this out there and some things that you guys can do to take advantage of that. Now, as with everything, there's always the rosy predictions. And unfortunately, even with the way that the job growth has improved over the past couple of years, there certainly have been some issues. And one of the biggest that gets talked about quite a bit is wage growth, or really the lack of it. Now, overall, the jobs have been added, but we have not seen that bump in compensation packages. We haven't. It's been a lot lower than what we have seen in traditional recoveries. Now, when we're looking at the numbers, yes, we have seen some wage growth in the finance and insurance and real estate industries, but you also have to take into account that whilst we are seeing some bumps in that, those were the areas that were really hit hard by the recession, as you well know, with banks going up and the housing market crashing. Those were the areas that were really hit. So wage increases on that's to be expected. The other issue as well is that labor participation is at an all-time low. We do have a lower unemployment rate, but those who are participating have been opting out. The percentage is the lowest it has been since they have been keeping records, which also could mean things improve. Those that have quit looking are going to get back into the game again, added competition. But that's one of the issues where we're seeing lower compensation, but a lower unemployment rate. Things aren't jiving up. And then we just look at the hard, cold numbers. Wage growth is at the 1.5% to 2% level, so it's minuscule. In past growths and improvements, you would expect to see it in the 4% and higher. And most economists will tell you that you really need to see a 3.5% to 4% increase in compensation rates for those that are to be able to take advantage of a real recovery. You really don't have a real recovery if the compensation rates are staying at or below where they were before the turn down. So people are not actually benefiting from that particular from that improvement. And we can certainly look at this particular graph that certainly shows that shows that the blue line, you can see where it was in 2007, getting up to like a 3.7 on the percent on wage growth, and then it's where we are right now, it's still below where it needs to be. But look at the gold line. Now the gold line is doing the NFIB surveys on companies that were planning to raise compensation, which does seem to be kind of unusual if you think about it, that if you're able to take advantage of lower labor rates, why would you plan to raise them if you don't have to? But what we were seeing for 2015, and also one of the reasons why we decided to kick this this webinar off in this particular session, is that we have seen a marked increase in companies that are now stating that this year hiring people, they are planning on having to pay more. They have seen, because of the tightening labor market, those that have taken advantage of improving skill sets, things of this nature, they don't have as many people to choose from. Those people that they can choose from have more options. So we are now finally starting to see the first signs of an actual full recovery. Now this is, of course, planned. It can certainly, as we all know, can go a completely different direction. But this has also been the first year that we have seen real potential with employers on adding on to compensation packages as opposed to previous years. And from our experience on candidates that we have placed in the past 3 months, we have seen actually seen that as a fact. We have seen companies being a lot more flexible on those compensation packages, willing and ready to do more, and competing for those prized and high value candidates. And that gets me right into this next one, is, so why bother kickstarting now? I mean, I did give the initial slides, which probably was not painting a rosy picture, probably a bit gloomy, and you're sitting there thinking, why am I investing 30 minutes of my time to be told that everything is so poor, only to get a little bit of a hint of something that's good happening right now? And that's really point one. As in that previous slide, that showed that wage growth has been low for 6 years. Actually, it's been even lower going up actually to turn of the century when we hit the 2000s. Y2K, we were afraid that it was going to crash all of our computer systems on Earth, and what it really looked like it did has absolutely nothing to do with the computer industry, but Y2K instead basically put all of our wage growth in neutral. But now what we are seeing is that firms are planning to ramp up compensation levels to meet those needs. First time we've seen that in many years. And this is, not only are they optimistic about job growth, optimistic about how their business is going, but even more so, they know that now they really do need the talent. The talent is there, but not in the quantities that they had seen or needed 3 years earlier. So kickstarting now, this is why now is really a good time to plan, take advantage of some of this positive growth news, and get your career going. Now, there are a variety of ways that that can be can do, and we will talk about some of those things here. But now, you might be in a good place. Companies taking good care of you. They took care of you during the recession. And so you really don't have any real desires or plans to make a change. That's certainly fine, but it doesn't hurt to brush some things up and polish some things up on your resume, on your profiles, social, professional, and otherwise, just to keep that just in case. Now, where is this growth happening? As I did mention, we were seeing that the wages are going up for the finance, the insurance, and the real estate markets, industries that we do not work, but also that wage growth was due more in part to the fact that they had just been shellacked from 2007 and on. Construction has rebounded well in terms of hiring, but there again as well, as we have seen significant stagnation still in their wages. But what we have seen, we've heard it in the news again and again, is that the one thing that was holding the U.S. economy up, and even if it was anemic growth, some growth has been in manufacturing. And what we have seen is some real growth in jobs and wages. Now, if manufacturing is out there, is the answer, what is out there? I know that a lot of you that have signed up are in the technical and the engineering fields, and so you're probably going, yeah, tell me what it's new. But actually, not a lot of people understand that. A lot of folks also think that perhaps they got out of that industrial or engineering degree and decided to go into high finance because in the early 2000s, that's where the money was at. But just to give a little background is that every year, and this is since we've been tracking for the past 5 years, there are 800,000 manufacturing jobs that go unfilled. And this is information that we get from the Manufacturing Institute. That's some place that you can check out easily enough online. But they are the ones that that were combining those statistics. They also had quite a bit of really interesting information as well, that a lot of the manufacturing jobs that are going unfilled are because companies cannot find qualified and trained personnel. Now, we hear that day in and day out. The manufacturers are talking about, or the companies, that we can't find qualified people. There's not enough people with the skill sets we have. La la la. It is a real problem. It is a real issue. There are also real solutions to this as well, because a lot of these jobs require a little more than a 3-month training program that you could get at a community college or a technical school. And that's going straight in on an entry-level manufacturing job. And a lot of these that'll start off at $18 an hour. And that's 3-month training. You got a certificate, and you're doing substantially better than the minimum wage. And I can also tell you as well that a lot of these manufacturing jobs look nothing like what we remember from the movies in the 70s. The noise, the dirt, the grime, the harsh conditions. Think a little bit more Star Trek than Norma Ray. And then also when you look at many of the jobs, we go out just off the certification process, but even on just 2-year degrees, quite a few of engineering positions and supervisory roles, a 2-year degree specializing in those particular fields is really all that is needed. Or some jobs that can starting off in the 75 to 100K range. And then of course you have your engineering roles, and that anybody who on this call is an engineer knows those are the guys that were not out of work. They were out of work if they wanted to, and if companies had downsized. A lot of cases, not all cases, but a lot of cases, they were not out of work for long. There were always opportunities that would come their way. But even on that, we are looking that these jobs are starting off at about $5,000 above the median annual income in the United States, and that's the manufacturing jobs. When it comes to that, this is running the gamut of traditional manufacturing, intelligent manufacturing, and also the Internet of Things. I won't talk much about these three particular areas. I'll show you on our website where you can see some of the webinars that we did that dealt with that. Plus, you can get even more information detailed regarding the manufacturing jobs from the presentation and Q&A that we had with Jim Reeb. Now let's see. Okay, presentation wasn't want to move. Hold on a second. There we go. Now, I've given you all of the background, showing up where we are at, talking about also the growth opportunities that we're looking at, particularly in the manufacturing field. And with the presenters, who are we? Why should you actually listen to somebody from W.H. Meaner Associates? And quite frankly, we are the manufacturing recruiter. We deal with industry trades. We've been working with companies since 1974, so we're not somebody that's fly-by-night that's going to be here today, gone tomorrow. We have been around for a long time, and we plan to do that. And we place engineers of all stripes, also work on sales, accounting, and finance professionals for leading manufacturers and industrial providers and service distributors as well in the U.S. and abroad. So yeah, even if you have a hankering to check something out that's going on in Southeast Asia, Africa, Eastern Europe, Latin America, and in a lot of cases we can certainly assist. Those are the areas that we understand, but we are based in the U.S. and this is our primary market. But yes, even though we are engineering centric, you do need sales engineers, application engineers, and also sales professionals. We usually work top to bottom with our client companies. Now, in addition to our placement services, which of course to our candidates, as you well know, it costs you absolutely nothing. All it costs you is the time to speak with us. In addition, we do have training and development programs to help you kickstart that career. We will work with you on polishing up that resume. We will go over some interviewing techniques and things that you can actually do to improve that. All of these things that we do for our the candidates in our network, we also do that for free. We can also provide you with and recommend some high-quality trainers that those do come at a cost, but certainly much cheaper than what you would get on your own because of our relationship with them. But by and large, a lot of stuff that we do to help you get ready to take advantage of what 2015 throws at you, we provide that for our folks for free. And then additionally on that, we have that deep network of specialists that can provide that expert talent that employers need. And that's folks like you. And this is why folks like dealing with us, because they know that we can get them in front of the players that they want and that they need. Now, this is, before I go to the questions, what I do want to show you is on this previous is I am going to take you to our website. Now, I just want to make sure, can everybody see this screen? Can you all see, you should see the W.H. Meaner and Associates. This is our website. Now that is our target, our top screen. A lot of times folks kind of miss out on everything else that we have. But if you look at the newsletter, this is probably something that you may have received from us as well as through my LinkedIn pages or things of this nature. This is the article on additive manufacturing, basically 3D printing, that we had done with a national speaker, Mitch Free. You can certainly view that at any time. On the events page, this is where you will find today's webinar as well as some of the others that we did. The article about Mitch Free, this is the presentation that we had with him, is the top as it results to manufacturing. Jim Reeb, this guy is a world beater. It's an hour long, but it is chock full of just great information. And then, of course, what we had with Vic Lesser, he is also a GM executive, retired now, wrote a very interesting book on basically how not to run a manufacturing business. Now, the one page, of course, that you guys really do want to see is something that we're proud of, is on our job section. And here is what we have. It is now integrated. No longer is there really a need for us to send out an email that lists all the different jobs, and if you don't see something, we can't list every job. Nobody's going to read it. So what we have now is our integrated system. And for those of you that have not registered with us, once again, it's no cost, but very easy to do. You're just a new user. You click there, enter in your email address, password, information of that name, as well as a place here where you can upload your resume and cover letter. And then with that, you can actually scroll through. Here are some of the jobs that we have, some of them that I have a very big need in. Number one is our business intelligence analyst. And this is an SAP role. So you just click on that, and then this will show you the whole job description, so you can actually look through this at your leisure. But this is, if you guys know any SAP certified IT experts, I have got a great job for them. One is actually in Indianapolis, and the other one is down in Alabama. But that's that one we have for the business intelligence. Then I have an accounting supervisor. I have an application engineer role, chemical process engineer, business development director, internal auditor. Here's another, that was another hot need that we have. So you see manufacturing engineers. And then, of course, we have a senior executive role for, actually that's now a president of the Americas. So these are some of the jobs that we have. It's really easy as well. You can either search by title or your desired state. We will be updating also this week. We have a bunch more jobs that we'll be adding in. It has been a really busy year, and our clients are in hire mode. So there'll be plenty more as well for you guys to take advantage of. And let's get back on here. And questions. We do have a little bit of time as well for questions. So, folks, you got there in the question box below. Yeah, we got a good 5 to 7 minutes. Ask any questions that you may have. Also, I'll be sending out a survey afterwards. I would like your feedback on that, on future topics, things that you would like to see from us, hear from us, and discuss. That would be very beneficial. We want to be able to provide information that is pertinent to you and of interest to you, so that we can make sure that we tailor that better. But in the question box, please type your questions. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I guess everything was well explained. You don't have any questions, or anything that you want to discuss? Yeah, there you have. There is a chat area as well as the question box. By all means. I hope everybody can hear me well. Let's see. Okay, here we got one there. This is actually good. Thank you very much for that. The question actually reads, what have we seen? What have we seen in the past 3 months, quarter, that leads us to be optimistic about the future? What we've actually seen when we started doing our presentations, when we had doing our presentations back in October, we saw a huge increase from activity from our clients. In the past, what would happen is, and when I say the past, basically the past 3 or 4 years, we go through the hiring process, company would make the offer, and the offer was in many cases lower than what the candidate was looking for. We have seen in many cases companies not even negotiating. The guy said, you know, they were offering him 50 grand, they wanted 60, the offer letter came back with 60. This is really what we've seen in the past 3 months on a rather consistent basis. What we've also seen is the breadth of the jobs that we are being asked. Our clients would bring us in for the engineering topics, but then because they see how we work, we get additional work. And when companies start hiring salespeople, you know that they're in a good position. And so that's the one thing that we've actually seen on that. Let's see. Also, I do want to do a bit of a plug. If I'm not mistaken, it is the 22nd of January, which will be next week. Those of you that are in the Charlotte area and would be interested in taking part in a work seminar, a little lunch getaway, I'll send out that information to folks that are interested. Gary Burgess, who is actually on this call, has organized this, and they have a couple of really dynamic speakers as well as some breakout sessions. I'll be in attendance there as well, so you can certainly talk to me in more detail about that and also hear a pretty good presentation. Now, with that, I'm going to close this all up. I want to thank you very much for taking time today to speak with me. The recording for this will go out to all the participants today, and those that were not able to attend, you'll hear it. You'll get that tomorrow. Survey will be sent out immediately as well. I do ask you to fill that out. Any questions, any more information that you would want from me, or information on future presentations would be greatly appreciated. With that, as promised, I kept us on the 30-minute target line. We'll be finishing up. Oh, yeah, actually, Gary just got back to me. They have 15 seats left, and it is the 21st, not the 22nd, the 21st. Thank you, Gary. I knew it was next week, but the 21st. So anybody who's interested in that, send me a quick note. I'll give you the information and connect you with Gary on that. And with that, thank you all very much. Have a great day, and we will talk to you very soon.